This week on the show, we're talking about Guild Wars 1. It's been a common question on Reddit for the past couple weeks if it's worth going back to the original game, and we're going to give our reasons why we believe it is. We also have what we call news, and we talk about our sore thumbs from Super Adventure Box. We've got one foot in the past on Shadow of the Dragon. Welcome to Shadow of the Dragon. It's episode number 37. And we're down one of our podcast warriors.
Oh. Poor Gallios. Well, it's not even Gallios. It's poor Gallios' wife.
Yeah.
Oh.
Gallios is out tonight. His wife sustained a tennis injury. And he is, being the great man that he is, taking care of his wife. And we miss him. We always miss him when he's not here, but wish him wifey a speedy recovery.
Yep, get better soon.
Yeah. All right, so no snazzy intro. So what you been up to in game, Cora?
Super Adventure Box. Trying to get the bubble bubbles. Bubble bubbles? Bobble bobbles.
Bubble bobbles.
Yeah. I have 16 and you need like 35 to get any of the weapon skins or something
Yeah.
So I'm trying, but I'm soloing it on easy mode, and it's still a struggle. So
yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it's fun. I love it when it comes every year. I'm sure some people are disappointed that there's still no World 3, but we knew ahead of time this year that there wasn't going to be a World 3. Maybe someday there will be.
Yeah.
So if not, it's still just a ton of fun.
It is. I mean, it would have been nice to have World 3, but they did say last year that it wasn't coming. There was a little bit of hope because some of the merchandise that was released changed a little bit, but they came out pretty quick on Facebook and said, nope, no World 3. They weren't mean about it or anything, which was nice. But
yeah. Oh, I should say the most exciting thing for me is seeing carpet toy and turn that into a glider skin. And because I already own the flying carpet, it should just be I go talk to an NPC and boom, I've got my flying carpet glider skin, and then you can see Cora zooming across the sky on her flying carpet like I am Princess Jasmine.
Well, you can see Gord zooming across the sky in his Super Adventure Box cloud. They got me.
I mean, it's pretty fun.
It was, and I steered clear of it at first, and then we were doing a raid, and I think it was Charbecue came by, one of the guildies, and he was on it, and I was like, that's it, done, I gotta have it. So I got one. But that's it. Super Adventure Box.
I mean, what else would you be working on right now?
Yeah,
really,
nothing really.
I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about anything else. I'm just saying, when there's Super Adventure Box in the game, why would you be doing anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing the same thing. Super Adventure Box, I beat Trib Mode, World 1, Zone 1. Romo helped me. Took me about 3 hours. We streamed it. Well, after 3 hours, I was at the end, and I still didn't beat it. But I went back the next day, and I beat it. And it's not horrible. I started using GW2 Tag, which is an overlay with many, many pretty good functions. And one of them is it gives you like the little green starburst to each area you're supposed to jump. It makes it a lot easier. So I started working on World 2, but lost patience. So I started doing some of the other outlying achievements. I do want to finish all of Trib Mode, which is pretty aggressive, but it's 150 achievement points, which will put me at 27.5K. And
yeah, you're crazy.
Then it's back to Mass Effect.
Well, I can't say anything about other games, seeing as how we're doing this podcast and I'm actively playing a mobile game on my phone called The Trail. It's addictive. So, but yeah, I think that's it for what I've been working on, what you've been working on. Yeah, I've got nothing else to add. Should we talk? What's the next segment? What's news?
Oh, what we call news?
There we go.
We're ready to bail on the intro already?
I mean, what else are we gonna... Gallios isn't here.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a shorter episode, most likely, because of that.
I guess. It could be. We don't know. No, but
I mean,
Super Adventure Box, yeah, that's what I've been doing. Yeah. I actually got quite a few achievements done in that, which is pretty nice. And how about the March sale? Did you get anything from that?
No, I'm trying to save money with taxes. I had to pay this year.
Yeah, so do I.
So as much as I look at the March sale and I'm like, yay, I could buy the things. I should not be buying the things.
Yeah. I bought some keys. Gallios got an elemental sword on the 5th key, I think.
Very nice.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to try. So I bought 25 keys and went through them and did not get any elemental swords. Gallios got 2. So RNG for the win. But that was it. Yeah, it was pretty late week. So, but Super Adventure Box is here and we have some news. I will try to keep it salt-free as best I can, but I can't make any promises.
I mean, it would really be going against your nature.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that in the next segment. So, all right, so that's going to do it for the intro. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. And welcome back. Okay, so
hey!
I was waiting.
I heard you, but I was so focused on I need to gather the things in this game, and then I was like, wait a second, I think I was supposed to give a response.
Well, you were waiting for Gallios because he usually jumps in first. To be fair. All right, so for what we call news, we did actually get quite a bit of news this week. Some of it through, well, I don't think any of it actually through, some of it through ANet's channel. So, first and foremost, Super Adventure Box is back. But if you want to see the festival release page, you have to go through the Black Lion Trading Company's update first, which I thought was kind of lame. But I mean, it's a thing. It kind of, I mean, whatever. I know they're trying to make money or whatever, but it kind of felt like Disney. Like every ride you go through Disney dumps you out into a gift shop. So it was a little weird for me. I don't know. I got to be honest.
Well, Disney dumps you out into a gift shop, but I mean, there is a reason for that. The point of Disney is to make money. So the point of this is sort of to help drive customers, like, hey, you are interested in this stuff, but check out this other cool things that you might enjoy that will help us afford to make other things. I see your face. I see your face because we have a face thing chat going on right now, and I'm watching your face. Oh my God, this is going to make the podcast so much more interesting if I can see the faces you are making.
Yeah, I'm sure because... All right, so again, I'll say the company needs to make money and everything else, but do you really have to hide the festival page behind the Black Lion Trading page when that is where most of the social media is posting about? So I understand. I'm not going to be too hard on them for that, but I just thought that was a little weird. That's the first time they did that, where, hey, we have a festival that everybody loves, but you got to go through the gem store update first to get to it. So, I mean, maybe I'm just being a little too salty again.
Well, you are a salt lick.
I am.
You are.
I have been.
I'm fully convinced that it is salt water that runs through your veins and not blood.
Jeez, thanks.
You're welcome.
So at any rate, if you do make it through the Evan Nash Blade update, you actually get to see the festival page, which was actually had a lot of really neat things, including if you open the page up in the console mode in Mozilla Firefox or Chrome, you got to see some unique writing, I guess it would be. It was kind of funny where there was some extra lines of code like commented in, and it was like, I can do the funky moa, the Charles stole every towel, I am the color orange, the best way to train is to strengthen your brain, and then I've been coding for 42 hours straight. But then after a couple days, some people had found that there was a slider called tribulation mode. So there was a value in the coding that said tribulation mode X, and if you change that to a number, it would mess up the graphics on the page. So there was a lot of neat stuff in there. So I thought it was cute. I kind of like the Easter eggs that they're hiding into this stuff. It gives people something to find, and it's nice to see that little personal flair in that stuff.
I think that's cute, but I've got no other real comment on it because I didn't actually look at that page. So sorry.
I'll be linked to it in show notes. So pushing on through the news. All right, the way I have this written in the show notes is, wish we had the Chinese gem shop, but I'm trying to reduce the salt
level. Okay.
Give me some, Cora. Come on.
I'll announce it. So something cool happened over in the Chinese gift shop.
Yeah, really cool. It's basically that you can buy all of the permanent contracts. That's the permanent hairstyle, permanent Mystic Forge, permanent bank, permanent vendor, all 5 of them. You can buy them as a set in the Chinese gems shop for the equivalent of $35, which all of these are available now in the gambling boxes of, the Black Lion chest. So they are available to us, but we have to RNG our way to it when our friends in China get to just buy them straight out. So,
well, maybe they just got it first, and it'll be coming our way.
It's different. The relationship with China is Guild Wars 2 is working with Zhongkong, I believe is the company's name. Zhongkong took the game. They did all the localization for Guild Wars 2. They make the profit. They set the gem store, and they give a royalty fee, whatever percentage that is, to ArenaNet. So it works out well for ArenaNet because it's another market. They feed Zhongkong with the new content. Zhongkong converts it over to China, and they do what they want in the gem shop. So it's really not a fair comparison because it's a different company doing it. It's a different culture, and so on and so forth. But what should be noted is there is probably going to be some kind of change with the Black Lion chest. It was Valve got sued for basically allowing underage gambling with CSGO, because I guess there was gambling websites that didn't verify age, and Valve knew about it and didn't do anything about it, and they actually got nailed with a lawsuit, and I think that lawsuit closed, and not in Valve's favor. So
no, well, it wouldn't. I mean, that's a major.
Yeah. So it might still be pending. I don't know. I didn't follow it that closely, but there are other companies and stuff that do have these RNG gambling chests, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing a change. So kind of something I threw in there because there's really not that much news. There wasn't that much news.
I can give some news. I can give some news.
Oh, you can?
I can. I don't know when this happened. I try to pay attention to these things and whatever. So the last time I had news was announcing there was a new narrative director that they hired. And it's the same thing again. They had hired another narrative director, like head of narrative above. I don't know. He's amazing. I've actually met the guy a couple times. His name is Tom Abernathy. Within the community of video game writers, he's actually really well known and respected, and he's an amazing guy. So the fact that ArenaNet got him and he is now working there to make the game fabulous, I am just like, yes, this could not have been better news, especially since people were leaving the studio for other opportunities. We talked about people were going to Amazon. Leah Hoyer went to Telltale Games. So I think they've brought on some really amazing talent, and I'm excited for what's going to happen in the future with lore, with these powerhouses driving it. So yay, that's my news.
Good job. At least there's something positive. I don't know if I'm looking in the wrong places or what it is, but it's very hard to find any kind of positive news right now in Go Wars 2.
I think I think you're feeling that way because there's not a whole lot of news coming out, period.
That's true.
So it's not that there's no positive news. It's just that there's very little news. So there's not stuff where you can be like, I'm really excited about this, but this other thing, not so much. Like when there's just trickles of stuff happening, it's a lot easier to be like, well, that doesn't excite me either. Versus when it's the deluge and you can pick and choose and go like, oh yeah. So yeah, so it's not as heavy right now because we're waiting for the next living story content. We're waiting to find out when the next expansion is going to happen. It's a lot of we're in a waiting period, and I'm actually I feel like I feel like ArenaNet has personally taken the time to time this waiting period for my life because my life is really busy right now. So sorry everybody else. ArenaNet went, Cora's super busy with 2 jobs. Let's ease off on the news and the content so she can not feel bad about playing or not playing every day. So thank you, ArenaNet, for giving me some time to catch up on real world things. So that way when you do come with the deluge of stuff, I will be right there and I won't have missed anything and it'll be great.
You are an optimist. I don't have a problem with the content. I think the content delivery we've been getting is okay. But I think you're right, and I'll touch more on that later. So, last but not least, last bit of news we have came from the Esports League, and they just put a tweet out on Tuesday that said, hey, next week we're going to be closing the Go Wars 2 website on ESL, and in essence, closing esports for Go Wars 2. So, when the news first hit, there was really nothing, it came from esports and nothing came from ArenaNet. I got excited. If you listen to the show, then I've not been anti-esports, but I have not seen the return for the investment with esports.
Some people really, really love esports, and that's cool. If that's your jam, awesome. Spread it all over your toast. Go for it. Some people, like me, don't care. I'm sorry. It's not something. I'm not a esports player. I don't particularly find it interesting to watch.
Yeah.
And so there's no interest for me. And ArenaNet wanted to give it a try because there is money there. I mean, if you look at, Halo has their esports championships. You look at Overwatch, which is basically that's all the game is esports. I would love to play Overwatch if it had a campaign mode, but it doesn't, so I'm out. But I love watching the video clips of the stories that look like Pixar. But as far as watching people run around beat on each other, don't care.
Yeah, it could have been good.
It could have if there was a bigger population of people within the game that wanted that. Yeah, I mean, who knows? They didn't know unless they gave it a try.
Yeah.
But they tried it, and the Guild Wars community, by and large, just was like, okay, me.
I'm not so sure it was that. Well, that's only half the story anyway. When the news first hit, I said on Twitter that it was actually pretty exciting news to me. And not because I'm down on esports. I didn't watch esports. I didn't really follow esports because it's not my jam. So I put something else on my toes. But if esports was delivering for the investment that was being put into it, hey, more power to you. But on Tuesday, I had actually said that if Mo made that decision to drop esports from a business perspective, seeing that you're putting money into something to partner with ESL and you're not getting the return that you want, then I actually applauded him for making that decision. So 2 days later on Thursday, still silence, and then ESL put out another tweet which to me was kind of controversial, saying, hey, even though we're closing down the esports GW2 website, we're interested in working with the company on future tournaments and endeavors. So it's kind of been looked at by the majority of the community, from what I saw, as, hey, ANET, I haven't seen you in forever and you're not talking to me, so the door's still open. My number didn't change. Give me a call and we could talk about it, type of deal. So again, there's still no official announcement from ArenaNet, and you really can't just assume, I guess, what's going on. But I think to me, it's pretty clear that the relationship was ended by ESL, or at least suspended by ESL right now, because possibly there wasn't too much work going into it from the studio side. It's kind of how it looks to me, kind of how it looks to a couple other people that I talk with. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's strong indications there.
It's weird. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, like you said, we have to wait and see.
Yeah. Again, we have to wait and see. But see, at this point, if ArenaNet does not address the issue, maybe they have. I haven't been looking at Twitter or Reddit or anything like that, so they may have. But for ArenaNet not to address this issue at this point is both careless and irresponsible on most part. Directly, it seems to me the illusion is that I have built in my head that everything gets signed off on by Mo. Mo says you could talk about this, you could talk about that, you could release this, you could release that. If somebody is working on esports or was working on esports or heading up the PvP team, your community is vocalizing that they want to see or hear what's going on with esports. Mm-hmm. Now, there wasn't a lot of participation, and a lot of people were saying, hey, that, that's what's really happened. And I kind of defended ArenaNet at first, but I mean, at this point, I don't know. It's another strange thing, which brings me to the last bit of news. We got 2 viewer emails. Well, listener emails. And I'm going to pull one up. The first one was from longtime listener Christopher Vasky, who just sent in a little email to me, mainly. I'm glad you find this funny.
I mean, go ahead and read, Gord. Pray tell, what did he say?
Well, the first thing he said was, sorry for sending you guys a negative email. But Christopher went to explain that he's been playing Guild Wars 2 for almost a year now, and played the original Guild Wars a lot back in the day. Been listening to a few Guild Wars 2 podcasts and think it's really fun. However, for the last episodes, I've really felt that it's been a bit too much negativity. So as soon as he said that, I knew he was talking about me. And he said it doesn't get very interesting to listen to after a while. He went on to say that he's well aware it's important to criticize things for them to get better, and also that it's sometimes done jokingly. But for the last episodes, he's really felt that I sound so genuinely displeased that he wonders why I play it all. Cora, who's always the saint, said Cora tries her best to add some well-needed nuance to the debate and remind me that I actually don't know what's going on inside ANET and their development team, but she doesn't get much sympathy. She never does. During the past year, ArenaNet has released a lot of new content, and to him, it seems that the game is basically in the best place it's ever been. Yet somehow, after a great Head of the Snake release, where we all got awesome story and lore, a new map, a new raid, and new legendary, I still spent over 10 minutes complaining because apparently it's not good enough unless I get the full list of what's going to be released a week before the patch comes. Also, apparently, Mystic Coins were cheaper before. If you want a lot, it gets really expensive nowadays. He's also trying to craft his first legendary. However, the fact that legendaries are expensive is half the point. I don't always have a lot of time to play. but he understands that the game can't give everything to everyone regardless of the time they invest. If he can only play for an hour or two a day, and then he has a full understanding for the fact that it might take him 6 months to craft a legendary. He also said, and I chuckled at this, he also said, if I already have several legendaries and over 1,000 gold, he doesn't really think that I'm in the position to complain about mystic coins. So he did go on and say that he felt bad for writing what he felt was a negative review. Understood that it might make me feel bad. He just wanted to express that he'd like to have a bit more nuance so that when someone says we actually don't know who or why they decided to publish the image of the cat and not the legendary, that I could be humble enough to say, you're right, and we don't actually know who's doing what with the developers. Some people do think that the cats are funny. And that's all I'll cover for now. There is a little bit more. I did respond to Christopher, gave him a response. But just for everybody's benefit, I agree. I've been a little bit too salty. And I think I said it last show that I really don't want to come on the show each week and be like, blah, 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 this game sucks. That's not what I mean to say. But I do have
strong opinions
and strong dislikes about current things that I will get into later. This one I ninja'd. We got a second email, and I didn't share it with you guys yet, but I will. So the second email came from Rusty.
Ooh.
He says, hi, I'm a big fan of the podcast and have listened to every episode. Below is his feedback. So what he gave each of us our own special feedback section. So to me, I'm reading in the order he wrote it. So
okay.
So to me, Rusty said he extremely enjoys my theory crafting and listening to last year's episode. Some of the predictions were spot on except for timing. Others are hilarious in hindsight. His only negative is that the salt level is a bit too OP and might need a little bit of nerfing. Rusty said he's not saying for me to be an ANET White Knight, but it seems like the others either have to retreat or accept the opinion. Other than that, great prep work, editing, and attention to detail. Shows come a long way since first ones and quality show. Thank you, Rusty. To Gallios, great countermeasure to the King of Salt. He enjoys the Cajun jokes from his Louisiana brother. He wishes he had Gallios' laid-back attitude and look forward to more discussions on builds and other techniques for WW as he enjoys Havoc too. He also said he's glad that the family's back at home and prayers for the region to be spared this summer. And then Cora. God, your head's going to explode when I read this.
Oh, I hope it's a good explosion.
Oh, you put the game down for that. All right, so Cora says, where do I begin? We found a gem when we added you to the show. Your responses to a loss for words are quite comical, and your knowledge of lore is absolutely insane. He started following you on Twitter to learn more outside of the show to help remember stuff from Guild Wars 1. Please keep the lore flowing. I enjoy your thoughts on the future of the game's story. So that's that. So that's our two emails. So obviously the past two shows. Oh, you're glowing. You're so cute. So obviously the past two shows I have been overly
salty. Water, salt.
The only thing.
Sorry, something in my throat there.
I'll wait. The only thing that I want to say is this week was kind of a good example of that with the ESL news dropping and no official response from ArenaNet, with the news that Cora shared that was nowhere on the internet. I don't know why that stuff is not coming out, and I feel like we're kind of being left to fester and wander on our own, which annoys me to no end. So I admit I've been a little bit salty. I had already decided that I was going to tone it down a little bit. And for Christopher, I did stop playing Guild Wars 2 until Super Adventure Box launch, because it's just, I'm in a different place, I think. And I've seen this displayed really on Reddit too, where there is a big rift between a group of people, and I think I referred to them last week as Care Bears. But I did. But what I opened my eyes to a little bit more was going through Reddit posts and stuff. There's a big line in the sand, I guess I would call it, between new players or players that have not been playing, took a break or something like that, and vet players. And that doesn't, I'm not saying that in skill level or rank or anything like that, but I've played this game and only this game for the past 4.5 years. And there are some shenanigans behind the scenes that I do not agree with. Mainly one being the communication and two being the complete and utter dependence on the gem shop to make their revenue when I feel that they've closed off all other revenue streams. Those are my biggest gripes. My gripes aren't really with the game content, the development, the story. I think the content delivery has been going pretty well. It's been pretty consistent and predictable, and I don't have a problem with that. It's the consistent lack of communication that's coming from the studio. And if you didn't have your finger close to the pulse of Guild Wars 2 years ago, you don't really feel that difference, I guess. We used to have a lot of blog posts, I would say a monthly blog post about what was going on, what was coming. Oh, this festival's coming. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, they didn't want to hype. Okay, I can understand that. I said that in past shows too, that they had an inability to control players' expectations, and they went to the other end of the spectrum. And I think that is what is causing a lot of my angst. So I thank both of you guys for your feedback. It's awesome. And,
I loved their feedback. I think it was great.
Of course. They all love you and hate me.
They don't hate you.
No, they don't hate me.
They don't hate you.
No, but
they are saddened that you
are at the level.
Have not been enjoying the game and not able to then express joy for the game.
Yeah, I will when the next patch releases. They're going to go back to Ritlock.
Hopefully.
No, they are.
Hopefully.
I'm calling it.
I would expect that they would.
Yeah.
But I think I had expected that we were going to see Casimir this past one, and we didn't. So you never know. They could surprise us.
Yeah, it could be. Well, I was going to say it could be because there's going to actually be 9 chapters in Living Story, which would extend the delivery of the expansion, but they closed off so many storylines in that last one that I can't help but feel like Casimir is involved in the story elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Fakerus is, or how would that be? That would be Kazarus if she's pretending to be Laz.
Ooh.
That's a common theory. I think Wooden Potato addressed it. Somebody, I mean, I don't think this one guy did it. A couple people have come up with it. I've seen it on Reddit or whatever. But it's hard to give credit to who actually came up with it. But that's a common theory. That
I think that might be it. That makes sense to me.
No, I think it's Lazarus, because Lazarus was walking around in Guild Wars 1 4/5 full. Because of Naveed. Naveed was the last of his whole crux, or whatever they call the aspect, in Guild Wars 1, and Lazarus was up and about and walking around.
Yeah, but we know that Casimir was sent on some sort of secret mission. So that could have been it. It could have been, hey, you need to go infiltrate and distract and, divide.
Yeah. Well, my thoughts on Casimir is the ties. So we had accidental leak. We had a leak. We had two accidental leaks from ArenaNet. One being was it from? No, yeah, one was the Janundu skins that popped into the game. But the other, I don't know if it was on their part, but they released it. They released a skin in the DAT file that was data mined of a different type of undead that looked like a mummified undead. The last episode established that E is either in or part of the Order of Whispers. And if we are going to Alona, it's very possible that Casimir is in Alona on a mission for E. So that's kind of where I think she is and why we haven't seen her. She's going to pop up in the Crystal Desert when we go there.
I mean, that could also make sense. To me, it just makes sense that it is Casimir That's the secret mission being talked about in those letters. That's why, I mean, this figure where Codicus was like, no, that's not Lazarus because I took the secret thing. That's, she's casting an illusion. We know she's super powerful. And in some ways, it would explain why Marjorie went off with this potentially big threat that maybe somehow Marjorie saw through the illusion, or Casimir gave a signal or something. And so Marjorie went off to be with Casimir. So I could see it that way. But I could also see it as, no, Casimir's off in the Crystal Desert, and then that's going to be, like, we're wrapping up all these other chapters, finish up Ritlock's story, and then maybe cliffhanger before, when for season 3 cliffhanger is, oh my god, here's Casimir, and into the Crystal Desert.
Yeah.
Cutscene, buy the expansion.
Yeah, because we have to get pulled into the Crystal Desert if we are indeed going to Alona, which nobody knows yet. I don't know yet, but that's kind of my take on Casimir. But anyway, getting back to the listener mail, thanks for the feedback.
Yes.
I don't mind negative. I guess it wasn't really negative. People are sick of hearing me complain. I was sick of hearing me complain. So I will tone it down a little bit while preserving my public image. But we're always happy for feedback. And, that's that. And just my last stab, my last grip at salt. Mo, this is how you handle constructive criticism. Don't hide from it. So, I don't know. I'm just kind of tired of the lack of communication. And I think a lot of people are. And it's really starting to hurt. If they want to tone down people's expectations and they want to tone down the amount of hype that was delivered so that it gave the appearance that they weren't really giving good content, or they were underselling to their consumers, that's fine. But I think they went too far to the left, and now they just need to come in the middle. That's it. That's all I'll say about it.
No, I can see your point, and I agree. I think the fact that we got listener mail at all was great. For me, it was the motivation. Like I've mentioned this episode, and I think maybe the past couple, I have a second job that I'm working. So I have the full-time job, and then I come home and I do remote work. And I just have not been posting to my account because I haven't had the time. I've been so tired that I know I was posting Asura lore, and then I just haven't had time, and I've been tired. So I have pulled up all the lore. I'm working on getting it into tweet form, and I will probably use Buffer, and I'll schedule like 3 weeks worth of tweets all about the Asura, and nice. That'll go out. It was nice hearing in the second listener mail that they followed me so that they can learn more. And it kind of reminds me, I started that account so that I could post about the lore for people. And I've been tired, but I'm not too tired to do something that I enjoy doing. I started it, as labor of love. So it's a good reminder to get back to it.
It is.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And just to say, I think that I'd like to think that a lot of the current situation is going to change, and they will start talking about, I think the studio will start talking more once the expansion releases, but I still am holding on to hope that this expansion is going to be huge and is going to shut a lot of people like me up. So
I would like a nice big expansion. Like, like Nightfall, like Factions was. Heart of Thorns, to me, did feel small. And to so many people, it did feel small. And you could see where story got cut. We talk about it almost every episode. Malik got cut from Heart of Thorns. He was supposed to be wrapped up there. And so the next expansion, I'm hoping that they do justice to the story. And I understand when you have a budget and you have to, here money is allocated for this and money is allocated for that, and this much money is allocated for voiceover, that means we've got this many lines that you've got to fit in. So you've got to fit all the story within this amount of text. Like, I understand things get cut, but when it was such a major storyline I mean, to me, it felt major. To other people who'd never played through those personal stories, they were, never missing out on anything. Malik who. But to me, it was such a major storyline that got cut. It was disappointing. So I really hope that we don't see that in the next expansion, that it does feel fully fleshed out and not rushed. As much as I did enjoy Heart of Thorns, but there were things that I didn't enjoy. I mean, we've talked about before where it feels like things are done out of order. You go and you defeat Mordremoth, but then you go to Dragonstand outside of the personal story stuff, and you fight the champions there, and it felt like, well, that should have been before the Mordremoth battle. For me, the Mordremoth battle is still kind of a big disappointment, because when you go in and you have to hit those air gliders, otherwise you insta-die and you wind up in the bird's nest, where you hang out for the rest of the fight. There's no way to get back in game, and that's just weird to me that was the game choice.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've talked about it before, but I mean, it is what it is, and that's what it is. So.
Well, but the other thing is they're going in with a whole new set of players. I mean, not players like us, but like the people working on this next expansion are not the same. Some of them are the same, but some of them are not the same people. So we're going to get different perspectives and different, like, hey, so maybe we shouldn't, hopefully, have the players get put up in a bird's nest with no way out for an entire battle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless the whole team wipes. That's it.
Unless the whole team wipes.
Yeah.
All right, so that's going to wrap up the news. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. All right, and welcome back.
Yay, we're back.
Yay.
It was like we didn't even leave.
Because we didn't. All right, so topic tonight is, I saw a couple posts actually on Reddit for over the past couple weeks as to, is Guild Wars 1 worth playing if you're playing Guild Wars 2? So
yeah, it is. I mean,
I think all of us, even Gallios, would agree Guild Wars 1 is definitely,
it's worth it, guys.
It's
Go
worth
play
it
the game.
to play it. Yeah. So first and foremost, if you don't have any of the Guild Wars original games, we're gonna break down every reason why you should be playing Guild Wars 1. The first reason and the biggest reason is, if you don't have any of the Guild Wars games, you can buy the entire trilogy. That's Nightfall, Factions, and Prophecies for $29.99 for all 3 games.
Not a bad price.
It's not. You do have to pay an additional $19.99 for Eye of the North, I believe it is. Yep, $19.99 for Eye of the North. When you do get into the game, you're probably going to want to buy some material storage things, so you can end up getting the entire game, all 3 campaigns, plus the only expansion for it, with material expansion slots and maybe some character expansion slots. You can get the whole thing for under $100. It might sound like a lot, but you're talking probably, just playing the story, you're probably talking a good, I don't know, I would say maybe 300 hours of content.
Yeah.
Just flying through the story.
And back in the day when they originally released, I mean, the single campaign was what, 50?
I think it was $49.99 per campaign.
Yeah, so you're getting it at a good bargain compared to those of us who played it back in the day. Yeah.
Now, the only thing I don't like is if you already have Factions, or if you already have Prophecies, or if you have one of the campaigns and you don't have the other 2, you're going to have to pay a full $29.99 for the other 2 campaigns if you want them. Now, you don't actually have to have all the campaigns, but you are limited as to what you can play if you don't have them all. I believe all of the campaigns have the 8 original professions, plus Factions came with Ritualist and Assassin, and Nightfall came with Paragon and Dervish. So that by itself, the value of the game, it is an old game. The mechanics are much different, but it's a really beautiful game still. You can't jump.
No, you can't jump. And if you're trying to run over a hill, you hit invisible walls. And so you like run down to the hill's almost gone. And then you turn and still invisible wall. So you have to like completely clear the slight angle of the hill to get around the invisible wall. So yeah, there's no dodge roll.
Yeah, there's no dodge roll.
There's no dodge roll. But there is Skill Hunter, which is amazing.
Yeah, there's a couple really decent features about it. First of all, I mean, just to hit it quick, the minimum PC requirements is a Windows 2000 XP Vista or Windows 7 PC, Intel Pentium 3, 512 megs of RAM, CD-ROM, 5 gigabytes on the hard drive, and an ATI Radeon 8500 or GeForce 3 or 4 MX series graphics with 32 gigabytes of VRAM. So very light. You even only need a 56K connection to play. so it's light. So there's that. If you want to break into the game, you could do it for less than $50. Realistically, you're going to want to probably buy some character slots. Each campaign does come. I think Prophecies came with 5 character slots, and then each of the campaigns came with 2 character slots. So just to play all the professions, you're going to need some extra character slots. So Gord touched on the skills briefly, but there's a bunch of skills that you can get in the game. One of the neat features of Guild Wars 2 is Skill Hunter, and Guild Wars 1. One of the neat features is that we've talked about this a lot, but it was actually an achievement to go out and capture every elite skill from every single one of the named bosses, which proved to be quite a challenge.
Yeah, and it wasn't just, I mean, we're not talking just bosses like, oh, you're playing through a story and here's a boss. It's on a map, there's champions out there, and you go fight that champion, you take them down, and you capture their skill for... They have a mesmer skill, and this one has a ranger skill, and that one has a whatever skill. And you go out there and you get them. And some of them are really, really cool skills.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I miss the skills.
So there's that. There's build diversity. The PvP in Guild Wars 1 is still pretty active. You can experience Heroes Ascent, which has come up quite a few times. If you're not sure what that is, it's an automated tournament. It used to be where it was China versus Europe versus North America, and whichever country's team won in the Hall of Heroes would win favor of the gods, thereby opening the Underworld and Fissure of Woe, which were Guild Wars 1's raid content, I guess. Not quite a raid, but a little bit trickier than a dungeon. So there's that. The cool thing about PvP is really the skills. There was hundreds of skills. Now, one thing that you do want to note is that skills were reskinned and renamed from Prophecies to Factions to Nightfall because a lot of skills were recycled. But the cool thing about that is really OP skills you could triple up if you had all 3 campaigns. So it was kind of cool. You could have the fun of playing a 55 monk, especially with the SS Necro, Spiteful Spirit. It's a 2-man duo for Underworld. There was that. There was 8-player assassin speed clears of Underworld. There's just a lot of content. There was Underworld, Fissure of Woe. What was Canaxi's thing, Miss Cora?
Fissure of Woe?
No, where was Canaxi? What was his thing called?
Oh, God, I don't know.
That was a 12-man raid thing.
That's why I wouldn't know that because I played all of Guild Wars 1 solo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I farmed the hell out of that. There was Domain of Anguish with Nightfall and then that's where you got your tormented weapons, and then there was also Urgaz Warden, where you pretty much just farmed that till you got an Urgaz bow, which was the best bow in the game. So plenty of that. There was, I think, 24 dungeons, I want to say.
There was a lot more dungeons.
There was a lot of dungeons, yeah.
There was a lot of dungeons. There was the Underworld. There was, I mean, like you said, there was a lot of quote unquote challenging content there, where you did need to have actual groups to go in and play, which is why I never did them. because this was where, like I said, I literally soloed it. If I played with somebody, it was a friend that I had in the real world who played Guild Wars 1, and she would help me through certain parts. But I tried joining guilds every now and then, and I this was my luck with guilds in Guild Wars 1. Guild does lots of stuff, filled with jerks. Guild is filled with nice people, does absolutely nothing. There was no middle ground. So I would go to an area where there was a dungeon that I wanted to do, and I would try to join a group, and they would look at me going, "You're a ranger. We don't want a ranger." Because nobody wanted rangers.
Yeah.
Or they would go, "What are you running?" And this, again, was a cool thing in Guild Wars 1 where I could, in some ways it was cool, in some ways not, because it worked against me, where you could share what your build was, what your skills were, what you were running, and everything, and people would take one look at what I was running and drop me from the group because I wasn't elite.
Yep.
I wasn't. I'm just. I am me. I'm the quote unquote casual player. So, and you know what? There is something to be said for people like me who don't know what we're doing and go into dungeons and we still do well.
Exactly.
Because that means that we have learned how to be scrappy at a disadvantage. We have handicapped the fudge out of ourselves. Unintentionally, but we have. But yeah, I am not the best at, like, I should be running these stats and these skills and these armors and these runes, and I don't know how to do that. But I find what works for me, and then I figure out how to really make it work for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that was one of the frustrations I will admit that there was in Guild Wars 1, was people got so set in, well, we're looking for a group. We want a monk. And, well, you're the only group looking in this area for this dungeon, and I'm the only one looking to join a group. I'm a ranger. Dang it, just let me join the group and we'll be like, can we just go play? No, we need a monk, or no, we want a warrior, or whatever. So that was a little frustrating, whereas Guild Wars 2, I feel like there's much less of that.
There is. Yeah, the Holy Trinity was prevalent in Guild Wars 1. You needed the healer, the DPS, and the tank. Yeah. But that's fun.
It can be fun. So yeah, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It just, for me, when it was, nobody wanted a ranger, it seems like. Yeah. Nobody ever wanted a ranger, and that was my main.
I had an 8-person ranger trapper underworld clear.
Okay. Nobody ever wanted my ranger.
Wow. I would take your ranger.
Thank you.
So moving on. There are still guilds. It's very active in Guild Wars 1 right now. So it's not like you're just going to go in and have a snooze fest because there's nobody around. There's plenty of active guilds. There's plenty of Kurzik and Luxem factions. They do kind of trade faction right now, it looks like, where the Kurzik push 1 week and take everything to get max bonus, and then the next week the Luxens push back and they get their stuff. So it's not as competitive as it was back then. PvP still has quite a bit of competitiveness, and you can GVG. So there's that. You can experience that. So that's just some of the features that really speak to me. So some other things that make playing Guild Wars 1 beneficial if you've never played it yet is playing the story. You're going to experience the story from Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2. Me, I would rather play through the story than read a blog post about the story or listen to NPC chatter about the origins of a story. Yeah. So. Or
there's things dropped in Guild Wars 2 that, there's nothing pointing at it. There's no neon signs that say, hey, this is a thing from Guild Wars 1. So when you go through and you play Guild Wars 1 and then you go to buy a trinket or something in Guild Wars 2 and you go, oh my god, that's Althea's ashes. Oh, how wicked cool is that? Yeah. Or the stupid stone that people were losing their minds over a few months ago that turned out to be, Rurik's engagement ring. And if you listen to the previous episode where I went uber gushy about how cool that was and why. Because I played Guild Wars 1 and I have that backstory of, yeah, why is Rurik's ring out here? I know why it's there and it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the story has already been leaked, but there's a lot of details that people just don't talk about, and there's a lot of details that just aren't included in the Guild Wars 2 recaps because there's just not enough time to do it. So just to experience the story firsthand is a major reason why Guild Wars 1 is worth playing, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, you see the things that are being talked about. I mean, you see the Pale Tree now, and you see Ventari's tablet. You can go play Guild Wars 1, and you can actually meet Ventari. You can meet Ronan. You know, there's so much there. You see the fall of Ascalon. Yep. I mean, that's where you start with Prophecies, and Ascalon is beautiful, and it's green, and it's lush, and there's people, and then there's Tiny Gwen. Yeah. And then you see its fall, and you see how it just becomes this desolate landscape full of the glowing crystals from the Searing. And you see the Searing, you see what it actually means. Because if all you know about it is in Guild Wars 2, and you go and you see that one remnant of a crystal that's left, and a broken wall, and then, well, the Char live here, and there's lots of ghosts, but what does this actually mean? It doesn't mean anything. No. Playing through Prophecies, starting with Prophecies, is why I still have such a hard time playing Char in Guild Wars 2, because I lived the Searing.
Yeah.
So, you know, I always thought, and what, not always, for the longest time with Guild Wars 1, I thought, okay, someday we'll go back and we're going to defeat the Char. And for it to not turn out that way, there's a big part of me that's like, no, why are we allying with them? They must die. But then you do get, you get to meet some cool Char like Rox. I'm like, okay, I kind of like you. You're fluffy.
Yeah. I mean, other things too. There's plenty of places in Guild Wars 2 where I come across that and I was like, oh, I remember that from Guild Wars 1. There's one place in Auric Basin down in I think I talked about this before, but it's in the southwest corner. And I think in Guild Wars 1, it was Tarnished Coast. But there was a hill that you would run up, and there was a bunch of little raptors and mini raptors, and you would fight your way through it. But when you got to the top of it, you would get to this bridge, and you would go around the bridge, and there was a waterfall, and there was 4 carved heads in the waterfall. That's in Auric Basin right now, and you can see just remnants of the head. You can see where it's eroded and stuff, and there's so many little details of that, places you could play where the Black Citadel is built on the ruins of Rin, which was in, I believe we got to in Nolani Academy's mission in Guild Wars 1, where you run up and you actually blow the Stormcaller horn, which is now sitting in the Black Citadel as their trophy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of cool things like that. So to experience the story is definitely worth it to go back. And there's a lot of good story.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, even if it's just, the names of places, Fort Salma.
Yeah.
I remember when it was just this, okay, there's just this chick named Salma. And I remember when she was just the standard Crichton woman skin. Like they didn't even put her in game with a unique skin. She had the same skin every other Crichton woman had, and then was updated later on down the line with her own unique skin. After it came out, she's Princess Selma. She's the last of Doric's bloodline, and we need to take back Kryta from the White Mantle. Like, yep. Oh my God! So to go from fighting to see Princess Salma become Queen Salma to now we've got Queen Jenna, and seeing, and helping Gwen and Kieran in Guild Wars 1, Eye of the North, and seeing Kieran fall in love with Gwen, and Gwen, who is dealing with massive amounts of post-traumatic stress, resisting falling in love, and then they do fall in love, and you get to go to the wedding, and then to go into Guild Wars 2, and oh my God, here's Logan, here's their descendant. Their bloodline still exists. And their bloodline is maybe going to unite with Salma's bloodline. that's why I root for them so hard, is because I remember their origins. I remember their ancestors who I loved so much.
Yeah.
And it seems silly to get so attached to make-believe people, but no, you do. And I think I probably, if I had come into just Guild Wars 2, I would have, like so many others, gone, I don't know what's up with Jenna. Logan's weird. I'm not liking either of these characters, but I'm coming with so much baggage attached to them that I can't not love them.
Exactly.
And want them to be amazing.
Well, if you spend enough time at Gwen Thackeray's tomb in Guild Wars 2, you actually hear a flute play.
Oh, yeah.
Which the first time I heard that gave me goosebumps. And if you play Guild Wars 1, you know why. So there's a lot of neat things. So you're going to play the story anyway. Why not experience it firsthand rather than hear about it 250 years later? So that's another strong thing. So the biggest thing is, for me, is you get 3,000 achievement points in Guild Wars 2 if you get 50 Hall of Monument points in Guild Wars 1. Not only do you get that, you get a bunch of skins, you get mini pets, you get
unique skins. Like, these are the only ways to get these skins and these mini pets, which I use one or two of them on my engineer, which is why I love, again, I talked about it before, the mix and match armor. This is why I love armor sets, because I have unique skins from doing the Hall of Monument. So I get to mix and match those in. And then people go, oh, what armor set are you wearing? Oh, well, I made it myself. And by the way, unless you've played Guild Wars 1 and you got those achievements, you literally cannot wear what I'm wearing. Boom.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's neat. I ran around leveling in the Heritage heavy gear with the flame gauntlets from Hall of Monuments, with my ice hammer, and everything I had was Heritage skin. So it's cool. I mean, I'm going back on a second Guild Wars 1 account to complete the Hall of Monuments for my second Guild Wars 2 account, because it's worth it.
You need to let me know when you're doing that, because I haven't completed the Hall of Monuments from once.
I have to find time.
All right. Because, I could definitely use some help.
Yeah. So another cool thing about Guild Wars 1 is that they cycle through weekend bonuses much quicker. So each weekend is a new bonus. You'll get an experience bonus. You get Eye of the North faction bonus. You get faction bonus between Kurzik and Luxon. You get extra experience on Zaisha missions, because now the cool thing about it is they've realized that most of the story has been told in the game, and there's not too much exciting stuff in the game after that. So they try and keep it fresh, and they have these rotating Zaishin bounties, they're called, where they say to you, okay, this week you could do this, and you get Zaishin coins. When you get enough Zaishin coins, you can buy extra bags, you can get a bunch of different things with it. So there's always something to do, and it's usually focused around achievement gathering so that you can max out your Hall of Monuments. And you don't have to get the God Walking Amongst Mere Mortals title to get 50 HOM points, but if you had a chance to get that title, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well,
I still haven't taken mine off, and I probably never will.
Queen Selma has the bounty hunt missions that you can go get. And if you make a character and keep it in pre-Searing Ascalon, so this is Prophecy's campaign, there was a thing called death leveling, which was, you would have to go fight a monster, let it kill you so that it leveled up, and then you would have to try and kill it, but you would be at a disadvantage because you had death penalty, and it was really hard to do, but some people were able to do it well. And in pre-Searing Ascalon, it was designed to be, quote unquote is my thing tonight. It was designed to be impossible, basically, to level to 20 in pre-Searing. There's nothing high enough. Everything's like level 2. That's the hardest, basically that's the hardest creature out there. And so people would death level these creatures up to 20 and beat them, and level their character up to 20 in pre-Searing Ascalon. And enough people did this, and it was such prestige to have a character running around pre-Searing at level 20 that they put in an achievement, a title that you could get. And it became enough of a thing that people wanted to be able to do it. Like, I want to be able to do it, but I'm not going to death level nothing. Are you kidding me? So they took a character that was in Eye of the North and they dropped her back in to the past in pre-searing, and she gives bounties essentially that you can then do, a couple bounties a day or something. Is it one bounty, 3 bounties?
I think it's something 3 bounties a day you can do.
Yeah, so you go do these bounties, and that's how that's how somebody like me at my skill level can level up to 20 and get that title, which then goes towards the Hall of Monuments, because getting a certain number of titles is one of the ways that you can max out your Hall of Monuments.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I never did was Legendary Defender, and I probably never will because it's tough, but it is easier now. The other cool thing you can get is there is 2 20-slot side bags. So the way it works is your main bag in Guild Wars 1 is a 20-slot. You can get 2 10-slot bags and a 5-slot bag. So it's a 20-slot, a 5-slot, and 2 10-slots. In Pre-Seer, you can get what's called a Gate Monkey and open the gate in the Great Northern Wall, and you can go out and kill some level 10 char. And there's 3 or 4 level 10 chars that have a chance of dropping a char backpack, which is a 20-slot bag. So it's something else that I always try and do with my pre-seer characters. So you could spend years in pre-seering just to get. There's a special bag that you get from Professor Yackington, who's Nicholas the Traveler's Yak. You give him 50 iris flowers, and you can get a special. It's only armor level 7, but it's a special skin, Crichton skin that you can get for your pre-searing character, which is a bit of a prestige. But you do get rid of it quickly. And the other thing is a 20-slot belt pouch. There was another pouch that you could get that would allow you to store 20 pieces of equipment on yourself at all times, which makes the build templates so awesome because you just put your extra gear in there and you can swap between builds. So that was another thing. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff in the game that is worth experiencing. And especially now for me, I joke around like, oh, I'm going back to Mass Effect. I'm probably going to start playing a lot of more Guild Wars 1. I have a good feeling that Episode 5 is going to drop right after Super Venture Box. But once that's done, I'm probably going to go back in and start working on some Guild Wars 1. So it's a good distraction while staying in the game world. So I think now would be a good time to jump into it. So that story, that's the biggest part of it. Here's another part that people don't think about. There's a lot of people out there who are like, I hate the gem shop. I don't want to support the gem shop. Well, guess what? If you buy Guild Wars 1, those proceeds go to Guild Wars 2. And I don't think NCSoft is taking a cut of Guild Wars 1 anymore. Maybe a little bit of a royalty fee, but it definitely isn't as much of a fee as they would pay for Guild Wars 2. So there's that too. I mean, there are some people who feel that strongly that they don't want to buy stuff from the gem shop. They used to support Guild Wars and ArenaNet, and you can do that by paying for Guild Wars 1. That goes right to ArenaNet. So.
And like you said earlier, I mean, you buy Guild Wars 1, you're supporting Guild Wars 2, and you're getting at least, 300 hours worth of content. Yeah. And I would say easily way more than that, because there were so many side quests. It still had the traditional, there's an NPC with a green exclamation mark over their head. Let me go run over there and collect that quest before I get back to the one I'm currently working on. So my quest log is still full of stuff I never finished. And there's still some out there that I never collected. Yeah. So there's tons of things out there.
Yeah. And then once you're done with the story, there's a bit of replayability with hard mode, because once you beat the campaign, you can go back into all the maps and do hard mode. And once you open up hard mode and do hard mode, that opens up vanquishing. You can work on cartography. There's titles for basically opening the whole map, and it's kind of hard to do unless there's still a program that's supported called TextMod. I just downloaded it and installed it again to help me with cartography, because
now what does that do? Because I haven't heard that.
Text mod, what it is it's kind of like reshade, but instead of doing graphical effects, it overlays textures. So you can change the UI of Guild Wars 1 to look like Guild Wars 2's UI. But the big thing of it is there's a cartography package, it's called, that when you load it, it puts an overlay over the map. And when I first did it, because when you get to the edge of the map, sometimes there's little spaces just off to the side where you have to stand in a specific place to open it. And if you don't do it, you don't get credit for it. What text mod does is it draws the hard outline of the map. Some of it is black space. It's not populated, but you still can stand in a spot in the map in order to open it. So it makes it much clearer what you have to do. And they've gone one better and made a new texture that actually has little notes on it. So when you open up the world map, it'll show you what you have open. So right now it's kind of like the artistic fog. Default is like the artistic fog like you get in Guild Wars 2, but they changed it to just like a light blue overlay, so it's easier to see where it is and where it shouldn't be. And they actually put notations of special places that are hard to get to, like make sure you stand in this spot.
Oh,
so it's really
nice.
cool. It makes it a lot easier. And then you can work on cartography, vanquishing, and when you go into Nightfall, you can work on your Sunspear and Lightbringer and what was the other one? Was it Sunspear and Lightbringer? No.
I think it was fun. Yeah, wasn't it?
It was Lightbringer, and there was another title that you could work on where you stop by shrines and you have to kill specific animals, and you can get 10,000. I think it was Sunspear and Lightbringer.
Yeah, Eternal Sunspear, maybe.
Yeah, one was with Order of Whispers, and one was with just Corna on its own, or Alona on its own. So so you can really knock all of your like 3 titles in one go. So it's not too hard to do, and it's a lot of fun. If you don't have people with you and you get Eye of the North, then you can get all kinds of heroes for Eye of the North and Nightfall, and then you can train them and gear them as well, which is always fun to do. So
and then for to put them in your Hall of Monuments, you can go. There were certain dungeons that you could then go play, and you'd get like the Scroll of the Brotherhood, and then you could get Gwen a new outfit, or you could so that was really cool that there was the option to sort of reskin them. They're all turned out. Yeah. So much fun.
Yeah, and you get drops that you could give to your heroes and gear them up. So that part was a lot of fun too. So there's a lot of nostalgia in the game, and there's a reason why after 12 years, Guild Wars 1 is still running.
God,
and still active.
I can't believe it's been that long.
It's going on 12 years.
Yeah.
So that's
a good game. It's a good game.
I definitely highly recommend it. Definitely.
And you can people can always ping me and say, hey, we should go in there and work on Hall of Monuments together, and I will be more than happy to be like, yeah, let's set a time, because it was fun. I loved playing it. It was not easy to solo certain areas, and it's, like I said, a lot of things I wasn't able to do, dungeons, underworld, because those are not places for you to go in and solo.
Yeah.
So yeah, to get a group of us together and let's go in there and just have fun, and and not have to deal with the trolls of like, we don't want your ranger, we want a monk, warrior, whatever. Like, no, let's just go in and do the best we can with whatever wacky skill set and armor we have, and just have fun.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it's a good break, especially with stuff going. There are lulls in the game, and between expansions, in Guild Wars 2, there's lulls in the game, and between expansions, that's probably how it's going to be. They do a pretty good job with Living Story. I think they finally hit the good cadence with it, but you're still going to run out of stuff to do. Especially, there's players like me that have already gotten 27,000 plus, 30,000 plus achievement points. So there's not too much to do in the game. It'd be good to jump back in there, still stay in the universe. It is a huge learning curve to get it to kind of regress back into that play style, but you know what? the point and click is worth it. You could play Guild Wars one-handed.
Yeah, it is definitely different. I mean, if you're coming from Guild Wars 2, you're gonna go to run off a hill, like we said, and you can't run off that hill because invisible walls. You're gonna go to dodge roll out of the way of an incoming attack, and you're gonna get struck down. Death penalties. I don't miss the death penalty. So there are things that you're gonna be like, oh my god, I can't believe people played with this. This is weird. But then there's so much other stuff there that is amazing, and then it's essentially new content for you if you haven't played through it before. If you haven't gotten your Hall of Monuments, it's a reason to go back into the game. So yeah, I'd say go give it a try. There's so much there.
Yeah.
And in some ways, don't think of it as Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2 is, you can't think of it as the same game because they're not. It's set within the same world, but so much is different between how you have to play Guild Wars 1 and how you have to play Guild Wars 2 that, they're two different games. So if you go in thinking it's going to be Guild Wars 2, you're going to be disappointed. Go in thinking, hey, I've got a recommendation for a brand new game to play, and I think you'll have an easier time with it. Yeah,
exactly. So it was something that I wanted to touch on. I mean, obviously, there's not a lot of new stuff to talk about in the game, so we wanted to, just cover something that would.
It's an interesting topic, I think, because we do focus because we are a Guild Wars 2 podcast, we focus so much on Guild Wars 2, but we reference Guild Wars 1 so often that it makes sense to talk about it and talk about why it's still a valid game to go play and why people should give it a chance. And like you mentioned earlier, buying the Guild Wars 1 stuff does support Guild Wars 2. And if you are sick of, oh my god, the gem store and the gliders and the outfits and the blah, 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 then go buy Guild Wars 1 and give that a try. If you're one of those people who are complaining about content drought and you haven't played Guild Wars 1, there's no content drought for you. Go buy Guild Wars 1 and play it because there is tons of content there. It's an amazing opportunity for those of you who haven't played it yet, or I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't played it, if you never finished it, if you never finished your Hall of Monuments, go back in. It is well worth it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So I think that's going to wrap that up. So we definitely recommend the game. Definitely check it out. And I believe that there's enough payoff in completing the Hall of Monuments points for Guild Wars 2. If you're a Guild Wars 2 player, I would say go ahead and give it a try.
If you're like me and the complaints about the gem star are there's too many outfits and there's not enough armor skins, Hall of Monument, the heritage armor, you can go work towards that. And those are like some of the first tiers that you can achieve is getting the Hall of Monument armor set. And then you've got an armor set that other people don't have unless they played Guild Wars 1 and purposely went about trying to get those achievements point to get that armor set. And then there's weapon skins, there's unique minis that you'll get. So it is the most exciting thing for me to go to the Eye of the North in Guild Wars 2 and to go to the scrying pool and see, oh my god, there's something new. There's something new for me to get from the ghost that's in there, holding my legacy for me. I think the one that I noticed the most was after having not done any of the achievements, gotten anything new in probably 2 or 3 years, going in with you and Gallios into Guild Wars 1, doing some stuff, and then going into the Hall of Monuments in Guild Wars 2 and seeing the jellyfish that hadn't been there before, floating in the water, waiting for me.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so awesome. And going in there and seeing, oh my god, I've got a new weapon skin. That is so cool.
Yeah.
It's so worth it. It's so worth it. It does become addictive where it's like, I just need to get to that next skin. I need to get the raccoon mini. I need to get to the glittery diadem crown thingy.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally worth it. It's totally worth it.
It is. All right, so if you're interested, if you have Go Wars and you listen to the show, I'm going to make it a point to start doing at least, hopefully, a weekly Go Wars run. And Cora's doing like a happy dance right now. So if you're in our Discord, I'll pop some information in there. I do have a channel called Gord's Go Wars Partay. So we'll start populating that channel.
Really?
All right, so that is going to do it for our Go Wars 1 segment. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. And we're back. All right, so yeah. Yeah, I hope for some news soon. I really do. Anyway, so Gallios usually does the shout out. So we're gonna hold any iTunes reviews till next week because they're probably gonna be bad because nobody likes my salt.
Oh.
Oh. No, it's okay.
Yes, but they do like me, so maybe we have
no, that's
some
good. It's a good thing I got you on the show. All right, so that's gonna do it. Wow, this was a fast show. God, we recorded this in record time.
Well, that's good for you. It means you're not going to spend 10 hours editing.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's a shorter episode because we don't have Gallios here.
Gallios.
It's sort of a shorter topic because we weren't specific, like we're going to talk about the entire lore of Guild Wars 1 from beginning to end, or you know, specifically this is how you played PvP or whatever. Like, no, this was just a general Guild Wars 1 is awesome and here's why you should go play and here's why we love it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I am going to make a promise, and it's not just because people wrote in, but I am going to make a promise to reduce my salt. I've just been crabby.
I think you need to meditate a little bit.
It just kind of hit me, and I think we talked about it before the show. When it gets to the point that, when things frustrate you, that's fine to talk about it. But when it gets to the point where the frustration is drowning out the message, it's time to take a look at what you're doing. And
I get where you were coming from with the salt. It was I'm criticizing because I believe they can do better.
I know they could do better.
Yeah, so it wasn't for me, you weren't ever I'm criticizing because they're terrible. It was it's sort of like, that the teachers in school where they were like, yeah, I gave you a D on this paper that maybe somebody else would have gotten a C or a B minus because I know you just threw mental masturbation out there. Like this was not up to your skill level and I'm disappointed in you.
Exactly.
It was sort of that sort of thing. It was ArenaNet, I've given that feedback to people of I'm going to be very critical on this because I know your skill level and this is not your skill level. Like this was you phoning it in and that's not acceptable. So when it comes from that, I can understand. But when it does feel like you're saying, where it feels like there's so much salt and there's so much disappointment that you can't feel, the pride in the thing anymore. You can't feel the love for the thing anymore. Then, it does become a little bit of beating a dead horse.
I'm good at that.
I say it with love.
But anyway, I'm looking for different outlets for my
meditation.
Soul. Yeah. Well, I don't want to. It's not fun. I used to look forward to doing the show every other week. We record every 2 weeks, and it would be like, yes, it's time to do the show, and I'm so excited and everything else. And it's like, I'm not excited to complain, I guess.
Yeah.
So why do it?
You gotta start looking for reasons to feel joy. You gotta get zen, Gord. You gotta get zen.
I gotta quit my second job. That's what it is.
I mean, I'm sort of there with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I've barely been posting in the past couple months because of my second job. And I love the I'm able to help out with the second job, and I love the access to things that it's giving me. But I also really, really miss posting to my Guild Wars account.
Life.
And
yeah.
It's when you get to a certain level of mental and physical fatigue, it's hard to find joy in things that bring you joy.
It's not just that. Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2 is my game, period. Mm-hmm. And it's been my release for so long. And to go from a communicative director to one that just is like, okay, well, we're not talking about that, and embargo everything. It's very frustrating. And that's all it really comes down to. But it shouldn't translate into everything. So yeah. I get it. We're going to move on from that because I'm sure people are tired of hearing it. So next week.
What's happening next week, Gord?
Scorecard.
What? Well, actually 2 weeks from, we should say.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Next show is the scorecard. So I got to start working on the show notes tonight because they're usually a little bit longer because the winner scorecard is going to go back to November. So the reason why I do that is because there's not a lot of content released because ArenaNet gets their winter break, we'll call it, and it takes some time to get back. We have Lunar New Year, so there's a good month that's out where we know there's not new content coming. So I don't think it's fair to evaluate them during a break period. So it will pick up from where we left off last time. So there's quite a bit of things to go through. I think 2 living story chapters, as well as probably a list of gem shop items that were released longer than my arm, but whatever. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a good one. Those are the fun shows. I might even have a special guest.
Ooh.
Secret.
I remember when I was the special guest.
Yeah. And then you got stuck. It's like the mob. You got it and you can't get out now. All right. So things to look forward to. And Super Adventure Box ends on the 20th, I believe.
Was it 20th or 19th? I thought it was the 19th.
It might be the 19th. It's a Thursday. It does. It ends on the 19th. And I fully expect the Tuesday after that is probably going to be the Gem Shop release. And the week after that is going to be the next living story, I'm pretty sure. So we're looking into May. They might even surprise us and throw it out on that Tuesday, which would explain why they did the Thursday to Thursday festival, which is awesome on their part because they know people love Super Adventure Box, and they've done things like that before where they released new living story chapter, which is quite popular, and a PvP season, which is quite popular. And it didn't quite work. So kudos to ANET if that's how it goes on, because I don't know what is going on behind the scenes.
All I have to say, in sort of relationship to that, but not really, is that I would really appreciate if our listeners would get on Twitter and tag ArenaNet and tag Guild Wars with the hashtag flying carpet glider skin. I feel like if enough of us make our voice heard, it will happen. There's no excuses for it. I feel deep in my soul like they have to already be working on it, since they've got the, hey, let's make a glider where we're standing and gliding on a cloud from Super Adventure Box. They have to. There's no reason why. I mean, we know that they love their glider skins. There's no reason why there shouldn't be a, let's have the flying carpet glider skin, and then maybe eventually we'll get the witch's broom as a glider skin.
Yeah.
Because my argument for why I was accepting that they weren't glider skins before was the animation of when you deploy the glider skin, your body switches into this face down horizontal animation. And so it would have taken new animations, it would have taken new coding to say, when glider is deployed, be in this horizontal position, except unless it's this variable, then be in this position. They've just removed that argument.
Yeah,
and for the flying carpet, just the same animation that you use for the Super Adventure Box Cloud. I just want that animation with me on my flying carpet. I will allow that we won't get the witch's broom as a glider until maybe this next coming Halloween. That's enough time for them to make another animation and put in those variables. But hashtag flying carpet glider skin, tag ArenaNet, tag Guild Wars, let them know we want it.
Yeah, there you go. That's your challenge.
Yeah.
All right. So, so Cora.
Yes.
If the good people want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
I am on Twitter at Guild Lores. I'm also on Instagram and Tumblr and Discord at Guild Lores. Basically, go to any social media and look for at Guild Lores, and that is where you will find me.
Nice.
Yep.
All right.
Where can they find you, Gord?
Well, we'll give Gallios the courtesy shout-outs. So if you want to find Gallios, you can get him on Discord at Gallios #3334. You follow him on Twitter at Gallios_GW2, and you can always find him in game at Gallios.8142. If you want to get in touch with the show, you reach the show at sotdpodcast@gmail.com. Good or bad. If you like what I'm saying, if you don't like what I'm saying, if you don't like what Cora is saying, that'd be nice if somebody if somebody finally wrote in about that. But anyway.
The people love
the people love
what
Cora.
I say.
Duly love Cora. But if you want to reach us, anything, we really do care about your opinion, and you know, any feedback that we get is going to just make the show better. So send it in. Don't be scared. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, it's at SOTD_podcast. And for anything and everything SOTD podcast, you can reach us at sotdpodcast.com. You can also find us on mognation.engine.com. And we have all the links to all of our podcasts at both of those web addresses. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach me at Gord the Norn on Twitter. Go ahead and DM me and tell me that I suck.
This is part of that salt. You need
no, it's not salt. I'm joking. No, it really is a joke. You can reach me in game at Gord.8654, and you can give me on Discord at Gord #4133. No, but really, I am joking. I know
you are. I know you are.
I like when people give it back.
As salty as he is, he's more like a teddy bear that is, instead of stuffed with fluff, it's stuffed with salt crystals. But he's still just a teddy bear.
Yeah. So that's it. Good show. Thank you, Cora.
As always, it was fun to be here.
Gallios, take care of Mama. Make sure Miss Gallios is good.
Yep.
And he'll be back next week. He wanted me and Cora both to say that he will be back next week, and he misses you guys. So.
Yeah. It was super last minute that he had to bail, and totally understandable. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. Stuff happens.
Life happens.
Yeah.
Life happens.
Rusty, keep an eye on your guild invite box, buddy. All right, so that's going to do it. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks with our scorecard.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. All right.
Yay!
So that's going to do it for this segment. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Where's my music? God damn it.
Bloopers.
Oh, hold on.
Did you break the technology?
No. Oh. Okay. So now we got to redo that.
Okay.
Okay. God damn it. All right, so that's going to do it for our recommendation, Guild Wars 1. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Son of a.